Before we dive into this incredible piece of history, make sure to subscribe to the Legacy of Survival channel. We explore the strategies, hacks, and life-saving techniques that shaped some of the most critical moments in human history. Today, we're talking about a World War II clothing hack that literally saved lives while the heavy-coat soldiers relied on failed them completely. For anyone fascinated by survival tactics, military history, or practical lessons from the past, this story is a must-know because it combines ingenuity with raw necessity in a way that few wartime solutions do. The problem with traditional World War II winter coats. During the Second World War, winter conditions were often as deadly as combat itself. Soldiers stationed on the Eastern Front faced temperatures well below freezing, with snow, ice, and relentless wind. Standard-issue military coats, whether German, Soviet or Allied, were designed for basic warmth, but in practice they often failed when soldiers were exposed for prolonged periods. Wool and thick cotton could retain heat for a short time, but once wet from snow or sleet, the fabric became heavy, absorbed body heat, and froze. Frostbite and hypothermia were constant threats. For officers and foot soldiers alike, surviving a cold night outside could be as much about improvisation as formal equipment. This is where the clothing hack comes in, a method that combined layers, natural insulation, and creative use of existing gear to create warmth far beyond what a standard coat could provide. The most notable adaptation came from frontline soldiers who had access to surplus gear and natural materials. Instead of relying solely on the bulky coat, soldiers started to use a combination of layering undergarments, stuffing pockets and sleeves with insulating material, and protecting extremities with improvised barriers. This wasn't just guesswork, it was methodical experimentation under life-or-death conditions. The core principle was using trapped air as insulation. Soldiers would, insert dry straw, shredded cloth, or even moss between layers of clothing, creating these micro-pockets of warmth. Unlike wool, these materials didn't absorb water quickly, which meant they actually maintained their insulating properties even in wet conditions. In many cases, soldiers who applied this method survived nights that would have been fatal to those wearing only standard coats. One documented example comes from German soldiers on the Eastern Front during the winter of 1941. Supply lines were stretched thin, and proper winter uniforms were, honestly, quite scarce. Soldiers improvised by cutting pieces of their tent canvas and inserting dry moss inside their coats. Reports from that period note significantly lower frostbite rates among units using these techniques compared to those relying on standard-issue coats. Allied soldiers, particularly in the Arctic convoys and in northern Norway, faced similar conditions. They found that layering multiple thin garments with small pockets of natural insulation, kept them warmer than a single heavy coat. In diaries and letters, men credited these hacks for survival on nights when wind chill could reach below -40 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're a reenactor or a survival enthusiast, this isn't just history, it's actionable information. Start by examining how your clothing traps air. Synthetic or wool layers work best if you can keep them dry. Small modifications, like adding insulating padding to pockets or sleeves, can drastically improve warmth. For survival, materials like dry leaves, shredded fabric, or moss can be inserted without compromising mobility. Consider layering strategy as well. You know, a heavy coat is not always the best option. Instead, multiple lighter layers trap air more effectively, and adding insulating material between them actually mimics the same principle that WWII soldiers used. Extremities, hands, feet, and head are particularly vulnerable, of course. Improvised insulation in gloves and boots can honestly make the difference between frostbite and survival. The genius of this WWII hack really lies in its simplicity and adaptability. It teaches an important lesson. Survival is not about relying solely on issued equipment, but about understanding the environment and using available resources intelligently. Trapped air moisture-resistant insulation and careful layering, these are principles that transcend time, truly applicable in any cold weather scenario. Modern survivalists and outdoors enthusiasts often overlook historical lessons in favor of high-tech gear. Yet this hack demonstrates that knowledge, creativity, and careful observation can often outperform standard equipment in extreme conditions. For historical buffs, it's a chance to see how necessity drove innovation in real life, not just in theory. This WWII clothing hack saved lives in situations where standard coats failed, offering a lesson in ingenuity, resourcefulness, and practical survival that still applies today. By studying how soldiers adapted to extreme cold, we gain insights into not just history, but also the principles of human resilience. For anyone serious about survival or history, these lessons are invaluable and honestly worth preserving. If you found this guide insightful, make sure to subscribe to the Legacy of Survival channel and hit the notification bell. Share this video with fellow history enthusiasts or survivalists, because these lessons are just too important to remain hidden in dusty archives. Understanding the past can give us tools to survive the future, and together we can keep these incredible stories alive.